Donald Trump told Bob Woodward he didn't tell us how bad the virus was because he didn't want to create a panic. Woodward assumed he meant the panic of the American people. I'm assuming he meant a different kind of panic. Check this out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Just to put this stuff in perspective, right? We're closing in on 200,000 American dead this week. 200,000. Now, the total number of Americans killed by Japan in World War II was 160,000. So Trump so far has killed more Americans, or Trump's inaction so far has killed more Americans than Japan did in World War II. The Nazis, the Germans in World War II in Europe, killed 116,000 Americans. So, by the way, ehistory.osu.edu is a great source for all these statistics. 116,000 Americans killed by Nazis in World War II. We're closing in on 200,000. While 600,000 people died in the Civil War, most of them didn't actually die in the battlefield. There were epidemics of disease and all kinds of, actual famine in some places. But the number of Confederate soldiers killed in battle during the Civil War was 94,000. The Union soldiers killed in battle was 110,000. So more than the number of soldiers who died in the Civil War have died as a result of Trump and the people around him's inaction. In the Korean War, we lost 58,000 Americans. In the Vietnam War. In the Korean War, it was 33,000. In the Mexican-American War, it was 13,000. In the American Revolution, we lost 4,400 Americans. 9/11, we lost 2,996 people. The Spanish-American War, we lost 2,200 people. And if you want to get into the stuff that Republicans are really hysterical about, when they proposed impeaching President Obama because 2 Americans had died of Ebola, remember that? This was like, for a month or so, they had this campaign going, impeach Obama. 2 Americans have died from Ebola. And then after that, it was throw out Secretary Clinton because 4 Americans died of Benghazi. And then don't forget the Bowling Green massacre and the massive caravans that were coming to attack America. All the Americans that died there, 0. But if we look at Trump's crimes compared to other leaders, and again, this is not incompetence. We thought, there were a lot of us talking about Trump's an idiot, Trump's incompetent. No, in January and February, Donald Trump knew that this virus was airborne and that it would kill people. He knew it. He said, it's really nasty, Bob, but I'm going to play it down because I don't want to create a panic. What's the panic he didn't want to create? In the stock market. That's what it was called in 1929. It was called the stock panic. It just astonished me. One of the things, as I was watching Bob Woodward last night, he relates the story of Trump telling him, in fact, they played the audio of Trump telling him he didn't want to create a panic. And then Woodward completely misunderstands what Trump was saying. Trump doesn't care if the American people panic. He constantly is trying to make the American people panic. Oh my God, the Mexicans, they're rapists, they're killers, they're coming. He opened his campaign in 2015 trying to panic people. And then there was the caravan that was coming. In fact, there were 2 caravans that were coming. In both cases, Trump and Fox News hyping them. Oh my God, be afraid, look out. He's done everything he can to panic Americans. Antifa is coming to rob and rape you. Black Lives Matter is going to destroy your neighborhoods. He doesn't give a rat's ass about panicking Americans. And I was just astonished. Woodward spent like 3 or 4 minutes trying to understand exactly why Donald Trump would be concerned about panicking people. He wasn't worried about panicking people. He said, I don't want to create a panic. What's a panic? That's how for 200 years in the United States, we have referred to stock market crashes. This was all about letting Kelly Loeffler and Richard Burr and any other Republican that wanted to do it to sell their damn stock and get out of the market before it dropped. But compare Donald Trump to other people. We have 20,000 infections per million Americans. We have 597, roughly 600 deaths per million Americans. So you can compare apples to apples. Different countries are different sizes, but if you compare the number of people infected and the number of people dead per million people, you've got an apples to apples comparison. We are 20,000 infected per million people. Canada, 3,600 infected per million people. Germany, 3,100 infected per million people. Norway, 2,200 infected per million people. Australia, 1,000 infected per million people. South Korea, 439. We're at 20,000. South Korea is at 439. Deaths per million people, we are at 600 deaths per million people. Canada's at 243. South Korea is at 7. We are at 597 dead people for every million Americans. South Korea is at 7 dead people. In New Zealand, it's 5 dead people for every million people. And Trump is saying, I think we're doing a great job. He was saying it last night in Nevada at his super spreader event. And by the way, they will be passing out the Darwin Awards for that to the next Herman Cain pretty soon.
You're listening.